financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Jeffrey Linden, good morning, Mr. Tax Expert.
Good morning, Ken. Very happy to be here.
Scott Weinberg, nice to see you, Criminal Law Expert.
Very nice to see you.
Pat
Good to be here.
Simasco, Elder Law Expert, Financial Planner, Commercial Litigator,
Everything.
all-around guru. Good morning.
Best looking guy in the panel I've been voted to.
Okay, let's get to the... Oh, wait.
Oldest man.
Brian Small, you're here too. I didn't even notice you this morning. You've been so quiet.
Yes, I've been so quiet.
Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Ken. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. All right, the topic today is the blend. Budget management, estate planning, and debt resolution. How all these different factors sometimes need to be blended together to solve a problem. And here's the basic time that comes into play. You have a client situation where they have financial problems and debt, but bankruptcy is not a viable solution. There are too many assets to protect, but there are still creditors that need to be addressed and sometimes avoided. It makes the problem for us more difficult, but it's manageable. It's not, it puts the burden on us to come up with a more creative solution. What you don't want to do is say, okay, I've got assets, just let's liquidate them, give all the money to the creditors, they're happy as can be, and you're broke. If you go to a seminar given by the banking industry, they'll say to you, that's a simple solution. You have enough equity in your home, sell it, take the money, pay off your debts, you borrowed the money, and then start over and start accumulating your wealth. You have a moral obligation to pay your debts. That's all great. That's a wonderful idea if you're the bank. If you have to live the rest of your life and provide for your family, that doesn't work. So we don't adopt that approach. So here's the goal. You need a plan that allows you to eliminate as much of the debt as you can, preserve your income for expenses and savings, place you in a position that your creditors, this is what Brian loves, so the creditors can't get to your money, and protect your family in case you die.
What do you mean Brian loves it? Everybody loves it. What is the problem with actually protecting your family? We've got the whole concept of Visa, MasterCard, the banks they want you to pay them because you borrowed the money. That's true, and when you borrowed it, you intended to repay it. Things changed, and by God, you've got to protect yourself because the bank isn't going to go and say, oh, Mr. Gross, now that you paid us, by the way, here, we're just going to give you some money for free.
Banks don't do that.
We feel good about you in the future, so here's a rebate.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Let me just say why you particularly love the area. Because you love to then say, I'm going to make you into a superhero.
Absolutely.
And on the screen right now behind me is an image of a superhero, like maybe a Brian emoji as a superhero that everybody's looking at.
Not
so
my fault,
this
folks.
This
is
is your favorite topic.
Ken's in charge of all the emojis and all the pictures behind.
Is he wearing tights?
Yes, he's wearing tights.
God.
I don't want to see
What
that
color
picture.
tights should we have him in?
really don't want to see that.
Purple
either.
I think this will be a blue type
Blue tights.
day.
I don't
Okay,
want to see that.
case study. Bob and Mary. I'll give you the facts, and then you guys figure out and discuss how to solve the problem. They own their own home. They got $150,000 of equity in it. They got an IRA and a 401k with $200,000. They have savings, not just normal savings, $75,000. So that's okay. That's good stuff. Bob earns $150,000 a year in wages. They have debt though. They owe $125,000 in credit card debt. They have $50,000 in tax debt. They've come in to see Brian thinking that maybe they needed to file bankruptcy. They need a solution to their problem.
Well, bankruptcy clearly is not an available option from the standpoint of a Chapter 7 liquidating bankruptcy where you wipe out your debts and get a fresh start. The reason for that is they have too many assets, and if they...
Too much income too, right?
No, not necessarily too much income. I know that's crazy, but I have clients, families of 4, families of 5, that are making $120,000, $130,000, even $150,000 a year that may qualify for a Chapter 7. The problem here is if I filed the Chapter 7 for Bob and Mary, the the house would be liquidated, the savings would be liquidated, the IRS would get paid in full, and then the credit card debt would get paid in full.
All the creditors are happy. That's a wonderful solution.
If I put them into a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, they would have to repay most, if not all, of the debt again over a 5-year stretch.
Because the equity in the house would go towards paying the debt
Correct.
over that
You can
period of
only,
time.
because they have joint debt, I'm making that assumption
Yes.
here, that there's no way to protect all of the equity in the home. So now you look at what the federal or state exemptions that you're allowed to keep allow you to protect, and that's roughly, under state law, $57,000 of equity. Under under federal law, it would be about $50,000 for a married couple. So there's still too much equity. So a Chapter 13, while an available legal
Feasible.
opportunity, isn't probably an available
Because you're going to pay
realistic.
back too much money.
Right.
Okay, so we're coming up to the break in a minute, and when we come back, we'll want the solutions to the tax problem and everything else. But in general, if bankruptcy is not viable here, what is your overall method that you're going to do to resolve this situation?
I'm going to combine the tools of budget management and superhero-dom.
In coffee preparation.
And coffee store, yes. But what we're going to do is we're going to make
debt
them...
resolution
We're
also?
going to...
What about the
Possibly...
credit card debt?
Possibly debt resolution, possibly uncollectible, and stick your middle finger up at the credit cards and never pay them a dime.
Wait, which finger do you mean?
The middle one. I can show
This
you,
one.
but that would be inappropriate on television.
All right, so,
What's our show rated?
but he's making $150,000 in wages. So
Right. So in all likelihood, we're going to do debt resolution to get rid of the credit cards. We're going to have to do something with Jeff with regard to the taxes, but we're going to hide all that money that they've got legally and protect it.
All right, when we come back from the break, you're going to tell us how we're going to do that.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Criminal matters are serious. Your freedom, future, and wallet are on the line. Criminal defense attorney Scott Weinberg is a former prosecutor and renowned criminal lawyer. For over 30 years, he's the go-to defender in Michigan to protect your rights. Scott's advice: you have the right to remain silent. Use it. If charged with a crime, call Scott Weinberg today, 888-235-HELP, 888-235-HELP. And remember, stay silent.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled.
Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem. Okay, back to Bob and Mary. So what are we going to do? We got $275,000 savings, IRA, $150,000 in equity.
So-
What are you going to do about the credit card debt?
So, all right, we're going to take...
$125,000
Right.
credit
So we've
card
got
debt.
Bob and Mary, and Bob is a W-2 employee. Okay, so we could also take Bob and Mary, and Bob is self-employed. And I just want to differentiate the things
We can take Bob and Mary and make it Rick and Judy too.
Fine.
But I wanted to do
Well,
Bob and Mary as he's a W-2 employee.
Maybe
But go on.
maybe as self-employed we should do Steve and Nancy. But okay, so
Move on.
Bob and Mary, because he's a W-2 employee, if he gets sued and does nothing to defend it and gets garnished, they're going to be able to take 25% of his net take-home pay.
Okay.
So we can't just take Bob
And not pay.
and put him in a position where he's completely uncollectible and can, as I said, stick his middle finger up at the credit card companies. In this case, we have to actively, proactively do something to get Bob out of debt. If we pay it, we've wasted money because he could scrounge up the money through selling the house, etc., and pay it. In this case, we can settle it for pennies on the dollar.
Using debt resolution.
Using debt resolution.
That's
So-
for the $125,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, and in fact,
But
we
so
can,
how does that work?
Well, we stop paying on the credit cards, we draw a line in the sand, and then we negotiate settlements with each
Oh,
credit
so you
card
do the
company.
debt settlement like I see on TV?
No,
Yeah,
debt
it's
settlement.
It's debt settlement.
Well, if you want to conclude that that if we paid something against the debt is a settlement, then I guess that's true.
Can I ask a question on that? So do they negotiate based on what the current credit card balance is? Because at that point, the
Yes, when you
rate is
settle-
like 25%
When you
a year or something
whenever we
crazy.
settle and the settlements are, first of all, let me back up. I was being facetious when I said
And
it's
I
debt
was
settlement
also.
because debt settlement we think is a ripoff that you see out there all the time. Debt resolution is a system of resolving debts that we created ourselves based upon our metrics of how it works. If you get sued, we defend the case. We charge a reasonable fee, not an outrageous 15% fee. But like you said, when you settle, we typically settle between 30 to 40% on any one card. On average, it comes out 35 to 38%. But the settlements are typically at the time of the settlement. Now, when we stop paying on a credit card, we don't settle it until we're like 9 months later. Some credit card companies quickly go to charge off after 3 to 4 months and stop accumulating interest on the debt. So when you settle it, it's at that balance.
So it's better to start earlier then.
But you can't settle until you get to that.
No, but the start is early. Because if you spend $100 on an iPod and it's not credited as $3,000 for that same stupid iPod because of the interest building
Yes,
up, it's
yeah.
better to start as early as
Yes,
possible.
when you're starting to get into financial difficulty, you should
Don't
be
wait.
you should be getting yourself out of it. If you continue to accrue more and more credit card debt, first of all, you're paying 30% interest on all of that in the first place because you're trying to continue to make the payments. And the resource that we utilize is the same resource that you've been utilizing to pay the payments anyway, the minimum monthly payment. The power of the minimum monthly payment is what will get you out of debt. We can utilize your minimum monthly payments over a period of anywhere from 12 to 24 months. Use that, save it up. It becomes
That's the pot that we settle.
it becomes the nest egg, the war chest to do battle with, and that is usually sufficient to settle the debts. So something that you were used to doing anyway, paying the minimum monthly payment, now becomes the tool to get you out of debt.
You're just not paying it to the credit card company.
Right.
now.
So like when Pat, when you said that you should do it sooner, the easiest way to quantify that is that. Let's say you just keep making your minimum monthly payments, you wait 5 years, and then you do this. Well, if instead of waiting 5 years, you only waited 2 years, you would save the 3 years that you made those minimum monthly payments. On $125,000 of credit card debt, your monthly payment is going to be $3,000. It's 2.5% of the debt. $3,000 is $36,000. 3 years, you've blown $118,000.
You could have used that.
And not only did you
After tax.
blow $118,000 after tax dollars, but you know what happened? You still owe the same amount of money 3 years later on your credit cards as you did when you started, because the
Because
it just doesn't go away.
You have to use the credit cards
That's a
because you
great
take all your
tip right
cash to give
there.
them the monthly payments.
That really is a great tip
Look at your credit card statement if you utilize credit cards, and look, and it says if you pay the minimum monthly payment, it will only take 29.9 years to pay it off. That
That's
assumes the following. One, that you stop using it, which never happens because you're in the credit card trap. Two, that you pay it on time and you don't go over the limit. 3 years later, it still says it's going to take 29 years because you keep using the card.
Doesn't he look like a superhero right now? He has the
dancing
passion.
Good
He's
job.
so
Right
passionate.
on.
But what about the tax debt, Jeff? What about you got $50,000 debt? So you're going to do debt resolution to get rid of the
And
debt.
that debt is going to go away.
What about it's got a $50,000 tax liability?
The tax debt, his solution is he's got to get into an installment payment plan. That's his only solution. He can't settle for pennies on the dollar with the IRS because they
Pete, I
have
want to
too
do an
much.
offer and compromise. I see that on TV all the time.
You do. What they don't tell you is that we can file an offer and compromise. The IRS
Hey, there's
will
a commercial that
reject.
says when you have a headache, call headache.
Right.
I thought you're supposed to take aspirin.
Well,
That
in
was-
this case,
that was a little pun.
your pennies on the dollar solution with the IRS isn't going to work because you can file an offer and compromise. You can file 10 of them. The IRS is going to reject it. Why? You have too much equity in your home, you have a 401k and an IRA, and you have savings, all of which balances are greater than your tax debt. The IRS looks at you and says,
You're solvent.
you're collectible. What you can't do with you, what you can do with you, which is the creditors can't get to the retirement accounts, the 401k and the IRA, well, Uncle Sam can.
So the solution is an installment payment. How long can you get on $50,000?
On $50,000, the easiest you can get on a 72-month payment quickly. What we would do is we would try and time it to see if we can leverage statutes of limitations, and maybe the debt will drop off, depending on how
We're
old
going to take
it
a
is.
break. When we come back, I just want to clarify why the offer and compromise doesn't work. Because everybody wants to settle everything for pennies on the dollars, and we certainly do too, but only when it's available. We'll be back after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Samasco Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Samasco Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem. Time for announcements. Want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 a.m. and Saturdays 7 a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Be sure and sign up for our monthly contest. Free $100 Visa gift card, Law and Reality golf hat, and a copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Just go to the website, lawandreality.com, pop in your email address, and you're entered into the contest. We have a seminar coming up Wednesday, December 11th, 6 o'clock p.m. I'm going to become debt-free in 2020. If you're carrying credit card debt or other medical debt and things that are burdening you so you have no cash left at the end of the month to save, you should make a commitment that says, I'm going to change my life for the better so I get out of this credit card trap and this rut of not saving money. The way to do that is take advantage, come to this free seminar. We will tell you the steps that you need to take in order to accomplish it. Special segment by Jeff Linden on taxes, special segment by Scott Weinberg on criminal law issues. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. Sign up at thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call 888-235-4357. That's 888-235-HELP. Remember, you can always come into the firm for a free consultation. Debt issues with Brian, tax issues with Jeff, estate planning issues with Brian, business law issues with myself, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner, criminal issues with Scott Weinberg. Just go to the website. There's always a link there that you can click to request a free consult, or just call anytime, 888-235-HELP. Also, take a look at our website. There's 4 great reports there that are free. All you have to do is click the button and they'll be emailed directly to you. The newest one is Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions, written by yours truly. Also, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV Gross, Samasco Law, Michigan Criminal Lawyers, PLC, and Jeff Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, we're back. So I wanted to just comment on one thing. Everybody likes the idea, I got a $50,000 tax debt bill, I'd like to settle it for pennies on the dollar. The Offer and Compromise, Jeff and I were talking on the break, is a great program when it works. When are you eligible? You got no equity in the home, you got no savings, you got no IRA, you got no 401k. That covers a zillion people are in that situation. If you have modest income and family expenses, you can settle your debt basically for $100. It doesn't matter if you owe the IRS $10,000 or $10 million. The settlement is a formula based on what your assets are and your income less your expense. But if you have assets, that program doesn't work, and if someone tells you it does, believe me, they are ripping you off. They'll take your money, they'll apply for the program, 8 months later they'll say your offer's rejected, and they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, you just blew $3,000.
You know, if I can just ask, we see a lot of these with a lot of our senior citizens. So how they get involved, their kids are trying to find a way to get out of the hole, so they go borrow money from their parents. Please, if you're in that, don't go borrow money from your parents to get, or don't go try to take it out of their bank accounts and stuff like that.
That just makes things worse.
Oh my God, it's horrible.
Because then they don't have any money to live off of.
And then the next thing though is, if dad dies a lot of those situations where it's husband and wife, and if husband dies and the wife gets everything, she's just in a worse position. You may need to do some estate planning to make sure if husband dies, it bypasses the spouse and goes down to the good kids to
so
watch.
that it doesn't go to their creditors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's try take a quick case study again. Steve and Nancy. Steve, they're both self-employed. We only got 3 minutes. Steve sells insurance. Nancy sells real estate. It's feast or famine from one year to the next. They got 2 children. They have a joint tax debt of $400,000.
Holy mackerel.
Steve has a $1 million life insurance policy. Jeff and I are meeting with him trying to address their tax liability. Okay? Steve asks this question. If I die and the insurance goes to Nancy, does she get the money, or is there a problem because of the IRS tax debt?
Her uncle gets the money.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
So what's the solution to solve that problem for Steve?
You put it in a, husband creates a trust agreement that names the trust the beneficiary. So the life insurance flows into the trust, and then it's a discretionary payout to Nancy. So it's not her money.
So the trustee is somebody else, not Nancy, and she gets that money for her. The trustee doles it out for her support, reasonable comfort, and maintenance, but she doesn't have the right to say, I want all the money. And because she doesn't have the right to say that, the spendthrift provision of the trust prohibits the creditor, including your uncle, Brian, from getting the money.
You know, also protects from her new boyfriend, the pool boy.
So, which is another reason why that can be a good thing for a lot of estate plans.
And now,
or the yoga instructor, or the tennis pro.
If we take the same
Or the golf
situation
pro.
Or the stripper.
and we look at and we add in all that credit card debt, and so one of the things that we could do here, because they are self-employed, we can make Steve and Nancy completely uncollectible at the same time from the standpoint of those credit cards. We can put them in a situation where the credit card company isn't going to get paid, and Steve and Nancy can still live their life.
Are you making them into a superhero again?
I am going to make them into a superhero.
You got 1 minute. Tell me how you're going to do that.
So, a Michigan LLC.
A limited liability company?
Limited liability company. We're going to utilize all of their self-employment's going to stay inside the company. We're going to create management companies, and we're going to create a wall. We're going to build a wall between Visa and MasterCard and them.
Oh, great. That's good, because I was hoping that somebody would finally get around to building a wall.
It's
in
not
this
that
country.
wall.
I can do without a wall.
Is Mexico going to pay
I
for
can
this
do without
wall?
a wall. If they take that cash in their bank account and they put it in an overfunded life insurance policies are protected from creditors.
That is true. That is also true. That's
Except if they do that when they're insolvent. Then they can still get to the equity.
There are all
Uncle
sorts
Sam
of rules,
knows a creditor
but you
can
know
get
what?
that.
Here's the bottom line. If you leave a pile of cash sitting on your
10
desk, the creditor's going to come get it. If you need to protect yourself, there are many tools out there that will allow you to put a wall up between Visa and MasterCard.
I want
Can
everyone
we
to
call
remember,
superhero?
do not leave the pile of cash sitting on the desk. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with One Reality.